democracy can be manipulated. Democracy can never cause development. If you want to cause development and maybe, like for example, Kampala is not on plan, and you say, I'll give an example. You saw what happened in Fiji, this swamp in Fiji. They were trying to conserve the environment, but because of democracy, people are going to court shout. But it was something good to conserve the environment. And if you want to follow democracy, you're not a dictator, then you will fall back. And then you follow the democratic processes.
Innocent, so many people have called Museveni a dictator. But
Museveni
how does that...
He's not a dictator. He's not.
So in Uganda, no dictatorship, no democracy.
I told you, we have in your patrimonio democratica. That's what we have. We don't have a democracy, we don't have a dictatorship.
What can save us from all this?
An overhaul of the system. You see, even if General Museveni gives power now, he has worked in the system for 40 years and he works through the system. So the system must change. There must be, you see, there's one man, I'll quote him, Thomas Sankara. He said, for development to occur, one madman must make radical decisions. There are some radical decisions that people will see you as mad that you have to make for something to occur, something big to occur.
Reshuffle the MPs.
Remove parliament. That's the wastage of time. What have they discussed for us?
So who is going to be discussing our issues?
You don't need to discuss issues. Now, what have they discussed? And what have we gained from their discussions? Just like you think of UN, I mean, this African Union. People go to Addis Ababa every year, they talk, what have they been talking about? We still have a war in Congo for 50 years. Sudan is torn. We have very many rebels in Nigeria. Uganda is fighting Kenya. Sudan is fighting South Sudan. And then what are you talking in the UN or whatever? You are talking then that there's genocide in Gaza. And you don't even have power to speak. What are you speaking about in those areas? You are in the parliament speaking. Someone you put in the budget, you put ambulance, someone says, no, I'll give that money to somebody else to develop his company. And you say it's important. So we can work without those issues, those parliament. So to me, if you want to have a Uganda, you must rock up. The way China did, the way Singapore did. They locked themselves up. They got a leader who were dictators, but they were nationalistic in nature. When we wish where they are, those that we should be democratic, we should be democratic like the way they are. Because the US started with self-train and they developed. The UK, they were the thieves, those are thieves by now. Whatever gold reserve they have, they sold from Africa. Whatever good thing they have, they sold from Africa. So after them stealing, now they say, for you should be democratic the way they are. But when you are still not democratic, so let us also first develop. After us developing under our dictatorship, when you reach the level that you are in, we shall be democratic.
Some of these countries you're talking about, they are already countries of high income, middle income, which we are not. We are still landlocked.
We are very high income from the start.
At least they were better than us.
No,
they were much better than us.
Actually, when you got history, Africans had housing. All those people were still living in the caves. And Africans knew how to build. The first university is in Timbuktu. The biggest university, the first one is in Timbuktu. So, when it comes to development and having ideas and civilization, it started from Africa. Only that when those people came, that's why I said, when they brought to a region, they showed us under the region that everything you have is demonic. Everything you have is backward. That's why you ancestor spirit. You hear people call them evil spirits. And then the St. Peters and Mother Mary's, they are called Holy Spirit and Holy Saints. That's how backward we are now. That's how our brains were colonized. And that's the biggest problem we're having in Africa. Africa is the richest continent in the world. It has every resource we need. We can be better than the US within 10 years. But the problem we are by foods.
Innocent, do we need opposition parties in Uganda?
We do. We do need opposition parties. Opposition is there to check government. You know, government without check, anything without control, no matter how good it is, it's extremely dangerous.
But who is checking the government right now?
No, opposition. In 2001, Dr. Besigye came in his manifesto, he was promising to remove, there was a tax, was it called the head tax? Where the chiefs would run after people for them to pay. I saw them when I was still a kid. And Besigye came with a manifesto removing it, it was removed. That is checking government. Okay, the opposition is meant to check government, not go into extremes. If you are making something, they will make noise. And the government they will listen and they will somehow change. That's the role of opposition. So actual opposition keeps government in power. The opposition is not a group. Opposition is not GM. Opposition is not NUP. Opposition is the idea. Opposition is the idea.
Carried by a group of people.
Yes. And a group can leave, another group comes. Opposition is the idea. Opposition is not a job. Opposition is saying that what you are doing, man, I don't agree with it. That's opposition. So the real opposition are the people, not the parties. Because the party is a vehicle, how those people can aggregate. So if that vehicle goes off track, people are free to leave that vehicle and go somewhere else. But opposition can never end. Opposition can never end. Opposition is the idea within the people. And an idea never dies. When we are joining political parties, when we are joining politics, we join with different agendas. Some join to make money. There is money in politics if you are strategic. Some join with the real thoughts and ideas of changing this country. And some join just because somebody else has joined bandwagon. So those who actually any person who changes a party because maybe he doesn't agree with the top leadership or he has been bought off, he is not a person worth trusting with a vote. I don't think anyone should be voted because he changed from one political party to another. No, you have no stand. You stand for nothing. So what will you say in Parliament? You stand for nothing. Every man should have something he stands for and willing to die for it. If you don't have it, you're not a man. You're not a man enough. Why should I trust you with leadership? So anyone who changes from political party A to B to C to Z shouldn't get any vote from anyone. Those are self-seekers. They are there to make money, nothing else.
Innocent, we have 8 presidential candidates for 2026 elections. And according to the wave that is moving around right now, it appears like the 8 presidential candidates are more of shadow candidates.
There's nothing like shadow candidate. That's also a narrative being spread by certain group of people. I will not mention it. You see, now the problem we're having is we're having a government that doesn't want to oppose it. And then we're having an opposition that doesn't want also to oppose it. So within the opposition, there's opposition. That is the biggest problem we are facing. There are people who think that they are more of opposition than the others. So they think me, I'm more, if you don't belong to me, to my group, you are not opposition. What if you're also working with government? So that's why I was saying most of the political parties are not built on ideologies. If you consider an ideology, there's no way I could join from my party to you because my party's ideology doesn't concur with yours. Yeah. If I follow an ideology to join a political party, why should I change? Me, when I leave GM, I will retire from politics because there's no any other party that has the ideology that I believe in, other than the Justice Forum. So people who say that political parties are not based on ideology, they're based on noise. So any person is free to stand. They have their own ideas. If you talk to them, they have a way they think Uganda should be led. Actually, we all want a good Uganda. What changes is how should we be there? The pathway is to use. It's what differs from the NRM, from the NOC, from the FDC. That's how we differ. If the difference doesn't rotate around that, then you should leave politics.
From the look of things, how do you visualize the 2026 upcoming election?
They will be very silent. We shall not see the violence we saw in 2021.
Why?
We shall not see that violence. Museveni has learned his lessons. And violence...
Is it about him learning lessons, or it is us learning the lessons?
We have learned our lessons. Fear has been instilled in us. We fear now. And I think
why do we fear?
He has seen that the more he touches the opposition, the more popular they become.
The opposition.
Yes. So I think he has nothing serious for us. So he may leave them, he may restrict them somehow, somewhere, but I don't think it will be as violent as it was in 2021. That one was bloodshed. 2021 there was a wave. It was the biggest threat he has ever had. And I think in these 5 years, he has done his homework well, somehow. I do believe. And I think he believes has reduced the threat. So that's why it might not be as violent as it was.
Of the 8 political parties that are contesting for presidency, you realize that not more than 5 are known by a good number of Ugandans. When I say good number of Ugandans, I mean a common Ugandan, a Ugandan down there in the village. Ugandan. Yes, an ignorant Ugandan. People do not know what, yes, FDC, they know because these ones have been there for some time. They know NRM, they know probably NUP. And then the past election, you see they wanted more of, when you see a bus, tick. When you see an umbrella, tick. Are political parties just about these icons and colors? Isn't there anything more to them?
In Uganda, that's why I said you're having a problem, identical problem. And we're having, okay, why gender problem? We lack civic education, first of all. If there's something we need as Ugandans is civic education, there should be initiatives by government to take this education to people, tell people that this is politics, this is what we are supposed to demand from the people. That's why you see someone demanding for a road from an MP. That's why they don't consult for us a road. Because they don't
take
know
our
the
children
role,
to school.
They don't know the role of an MP. So the problem we're having in Uganda is ignorance, and I think information doesn't
But even
go.
some of these MPs, during their manifesto launch, they say some of these things. When I get there, I will come back and do this.
That. Those are called demagogues. I will come to that. Now, the government should, when I was growing up, I used to hear about these things, but I've never seen them. What you call barazas. These people who understand politics and service, they call people at the sub-county, they teach them, you see, you as an individual, you have this right, and you have this obligation, and this obligation. Your MP should do this, your FC5 should do this, and you should also not do this. So in that due course, people would know. People would vote people basing on reason. But now in Uganda, people vote basing on the money you give them. People vote basing on what they saw in the news. People vote cousins and tribemates. People, they vote for all sorts of fake reasons. And it's I think it's intentional by government. Because the opposition doesn't have the power to manipulate people. The government has. So it's intentional for them to remain ignorant so that they can vote them the way they want. Now, when you come to those MPs, you see in Uganda, the problem we're having is, I'll quote Professor Mumoni. He said that the problem we have in Africa, people with ideas don't have power, and the fellows with power don't have any idea. And when you present those people to the mass for voting, these masses, they have a lot of love for people without ideas. They have is overwhelming. Now, people with ideas, they will never get power in Africa. Because people don't know ideas, what they are meant to do. For them, what they want is speaking sweet nothings. You see, you know ladies. A lady, if you are dating a lady and you tell her the truth, she will never love you. Ladies enjoy lies. And if you like them, even if she knows that she's ugly, you are the most beautiful girl, she will feel happy, she will feel loved. That's how Ugandans are. So they want someone who can talk the language they understand. If you tell them the truth, you'll never get a vote. So what you do, go lie to them because they don't know. By the way, it is very easy to win a constitution than winning a university election. Against president. Because against president, you are talking to people who know. So you must convince them beyond reason. But people in those villagers, I just go there, say,
I'm going to pay
this road, I will end this road, I will end the poverty in this area, I will bring a road,
health centers,
all sorts of things. And now that comes to what we call social contract. Social contract is an agreement we make. The moment we are voted into power and people vote us. Social contract. You must agree, you must fulfill that. If you don't fulfill it, then you should never return back. Now, under social contract, under social contract, the government, there are some things government should provide. Hospitals, roads, things we can't provide for ourselves. That's why I don't agree with PDM. Because PDM, that money should have been put into providing things we can't provide for ourselves, like health services, roads and schools and all that. The others, we can work on our own. That's it.
So
That's
was PDM a bad idea?
Depending on the current situation, it was a good idea. If it wasn't, the current situation shouldn't have been there. So, youth failures of government, the PDM became a good idea.
NRM launched their manifesto on 29th September. That was about Monday this week. And in their manifesto, one of the things that have captured my mind is their title. The title of their manifesto is to protect the gains and ensure a qualitative leap into the middle income status. That is for all Ugandans. What do you say about that?
First of all, the NRM has had very good words. 2011 it was no change. 2016 it was it was steady progress. 2021 it was searching your future.
But they have lived up to them, haven't
no.
they?
You know, those are
steady progress. They tried. They did.
What progress have we had?
No change. Have they been changed?
No change. No change. Why? No, those are political slogans. I won't take much into that. They are political slogans. They don't live up to that. I've told you, the manifesto speaks something else. They do what they do is something else. Now that manifesto speaks the Project Uganda. What they do is Project 7. So there's no need even to waste the time in manifesto. They don't achieve what they promised in manifestos. They have never achieved. So no reading manifesto, it says wastage of time.
What should be inside the manifesto?
Pardon?
What should be inside of manifesto?
We need something tangible, not manifesto, not the write-ups.
But something tangible comes from the idea you have, which you have put into the writing.
Which idea has failed to be fulfilled. You see, you can have the first idea, you buy it, you don't fulfill. The second one, no. The third, the fourth one also, and the fifth and the seventh. So when you become consistent in not fulfilling your ideas, you no longer take your ideas as...
I don't understand when people keep saying, you've not fulfilled what you've said, you've not done this. What more?
Now,
what do you expect?
They are talking about middle income status. Middle income status is measured depending on the GDP. First of all, I don't agree with the fact that GDP is a measure of the country's progress. Actually, there are some Ugandans who have more money than the whole district. So you find that also money is also included in the GDP. They say the GDP is increasing, but it's a small clique of people that is dropping. The income status they are putting us in is not resonating around with the population. There's no money in the pocket, but there's money in words. So that's why I don't agree with their...
Innocent, in all this that you're saying, at least there has to be credit given to the current government, the current regime. The things they have done,
yes,
the things
yes.
we have now, most of them we were not having them before.
Now, let me tell you, even a snail can walk to make progress. The question is, how far should we go? Is it where we are supposed to be in the first place? Now that's the bigger question. They have made some progress, I won't lie. Like, for example, when it comes to security, I give them equality. When it comes to somehow us being free, the freedom and all that, somehow they have tried. But they have tried in a lot of things. Infrastructure development, when it comes to roads. Nonetheless, there have been a lot of theft, a lot of shoulder work, but they have tried. But the question is it where we're supposed to be in 40 years? If it wasn't those irregularities and all the inconsistencies, should we have been here? That is the biggest question.
But if you're asking, is it where we're supposed to be in the 40 years, do you understand where we are coming from?
Now let me tell you.
Were we here before the 40 years?
You see, when you are growing up, a kid of 1 year, if you are still giving excuses that you've not yet married 40 years, then you are a fool. We started in 1986 years. Let's say in 86 up to 2000, we are rebuilding. What have we been from 2000 to 2025? Now the question is, It's like you marrying, like you saying, I will marry, I will marry, I will marry. And then at 40, you've not yet married. And you say, I'm dating so and so. Is that where you're supposed to be? So the question is, there's somewhere we're supposed to be in 40 years. There are some countries we've been in 40 years with, and there are somewhere where we are not. Look at Kenya. Kenya is far, far ahead of us. So the biggest question we're having for this is it we're supposed to be. Now for us, we don't look at history. Because I wasn't there in 1986. I wasn't there. Just read about it. Yes, you tried, you brought peace. Yes, we understand you brought peace. But are we supposed to be where we are?
You've just said political ideas and developments do not have time frame. So if you're counting the far we are coming from to where you are.
Not development. Development has a time frame. Ideas. Achieving an idea may take a lifetime. But development, you must achieve it. Development and ideas are two different things.
So you're telling me Uganda is not developed?
Uganda, if the rankings had something beyond third world, we would be there. But because the rankings stop on the third world, this is where we are. A third world country. And it's sad for that sense. So we are not even half of where we should be.
It sounds like some Ugandans are not grateful for where they are and what this government has done.
No, we appreciate where we are. But we say that's not where we're supposed to be.
Do you think he can take us to where we want to be?
You can't put new wine. You can't put new wine in a new bottle. Museveni has no more ideas. He has been there for 40 years. I don't think he has something new. You can't drink new wine in an old bottle.
What are you insinuating?
These new ideas that we need, you can't put them in an old generation.
You need the innocent.
We need the innocence of this one. Us who have grown up in this, we don't need to understand the history. We need to understand where we're going. Because the moment you keep comparing the Uganda of 2025 with the Uganda of 1986, we shall never develop. For you would be seeing that we've developed. That was like my father saying, for now I started up to P7, but we're still surviving. Now this is a different generation. And that's the challenge they are having. It's a generational challenge. Now, us as a generation, we should work towards achieving what we think we should. Not referring to history, not there. I wasn't there in 1986. But I see where other countries are going. I also want to be there. You can't be in 2025 really. See, talking about it using Jekans.
What is the real problem of a Ugandan?
Leadership. A Ugandan as a Ugandan. Basic survival. As of now. And that shouldn't be a problem. The biggest problem of Uganda is this survival. People don't have what to sleep. People don't have what to eat. People don't have what to take their children to school for. They don't have money to take children to school.
Do you realize that even in the USA, there are street kids, there are street people?
Now,
so why would it be different
I'm talking
from
an average Ugandan. Do you know the US? That street kid you are calling a street kid, he gets free treatment. Computer free treatment. Actually, a street kid in the US, the life he's living for a better lifestyle than someone earning 500,000 in Uganda. Far better lifestyle. And that's the kind of life we are living in. So if an average Ugandan, see, he's driving a car, if he goes to the US, he'll be among the poorest. And that's the kind of life we are living. So we need to be somewhere, not where we are. Yes, we are somewhere, but we shouldn't be here. We should have been somewhere, not here.
So why we are not where we are supposed to be, the issue is leadership.
The biggest problem at every problem is leadership.
From the head.
It resonates around leadership. Leadership gives direction. That's why I'm saying you should never allow your fool to lead you.
Who is the fool in this picture?
No, I'm not saying there's a fool in Uganda. I'm saying it's always man. I respect him. No, I'm talking about leadership. If you are led by a fool, he will dump you into a ditch. Museveni is a wise man. But the problem is having Uganda is no longer a project, him is the project. That is his only problem. He's extremely wise, but he's no longer minding about Uganda, he's minding about his next term in office. And everything he does, as long as he can get him into the next term, that's okay. So we need the leaders who don't mind about the next term. We need the leaders who mind about the next Uganda. That even if I'm no longer a leader here, the Uganda would be the Uganda I wish to have.
When we carry Museveni with all the due honors that you have, put him aside, who else do you see in the picture within Uganda that can lead us well?
I want to mention names, please.
You should, because you seem to be having an idea.
Mention names. There are so many Ugandans with ideas. Here, myself, I have ideas. So there are so many people I don't know. I don't look at these top
Are they the ones?
politicians.
The ones we are expecting on the ballot?
Don't look at only those. There are so many Ugandans with very good ideas, but they don't have a chance to be seen in. There's a quote in Uganda. Makasambidi calls it abamanyi na abamanyifu. People who know and people who are known. They are two different things. So what we see, there are people who are known, and there are people who know. That's why I want to mention names.
Where are they? Why don't they
Me
show
myself,
up?
I'm here.
Show up there.
Me myself, I'm here. At who knows me. Me myself, I'm here. There are some other very young people, even some in their 40s. People have very good ideas, but they are not known, so they don't have a chance. Some even have very good ideas, but they fail to achieve the basic education. Someone stopped at senior 6, and he didn't go beyond because he never had the money for the university, and the ideas died with him. That's why someone said, if you want the best ideas, you go to the graveyard. So people have very good ideas to change this country. If you take us to first class, where we see the US as others, but they have not had a chance.